How you doing, everybody? Oh, geez. So didn't even have time to get my watch put on, but it's right. So, hi, John and Geezer and Tom. How you guys doing? Hi, Ines. Something Hughes. Oh boy. Here I got my watch on now. Ah, oh boy. Well, what I've been doing lately is, hi, Lee. Thanks, Geezer. Hey, GMT Master. This is what I've been playing with for a while. Hi, David. And I got these two things. This was free. And what you do with this is that you slip this in here. I'll show you how to do it in a bit. And then you take pictures of your watches. What else? Ah, so so let's see. So what's new? Um, Not much really. The situation, I haven't heard from Agonor, and I don't think I will in terms of this. And the last email that I sent him was to the effect that, look, you guys, I don't know what's going on. But this is something that's not a rush. And if someday down the road, you got some time and you say, hey, remember those guys that contacted us? Why don't we see if we can put something together for them? And that would work out fine for me. I'm not because we've got all kinds of other options. One of the things that I've been looking at, and I've looked at for a long time, were the Gerald Genta. If you're familiar with Gerald Genta, he had some retrograde designs with a jumping hour that were exactly like the ones that we've been looking at. So that was something. Some other news that I ran into, you may have seen it too. Hi, Dominic. The the deal between H. Moser and MB&F. Uh, what what that was is that they have this watch. It's sort of unusual looking, with some features of Moser's and features of the that sort of jump out MBF plus a tourbillon, and I think in some of them at least. I don't know if all of them have the tourbillon, but apparently they sold out. Okay. I know a lot of people, oh, that's not going to go well and yada, yada, yada. Hi, Tim. But they sold out. And so, this was sort of an interesting thing. And the thing I liked about it is that I like collaborations where you have something, you take the strength of two companies and you put them together. You have sort of the innovation. Well, actually, both of these companies are pretty innovative if you stop and think about it. But they take their strength and they put them together and they come out with a watch. Unfortunately, a lot of times they're very expensive watches, but still, there's the idea. And I think that there's another way to do it, so you have strength in both companies, and they can both save money and give it to us at great deals. Okay. Okie doke. Let's see what's going on. Hi, Luke. Terry, how are you? Coffee and watches. Good morning, all. Hi. Oh, you got your coffee. That's one thing I'm behind on. We have been having the last couple of days. We've been having really wonderful weather. As a result, I've been out in the yard a lot. I mowed about a half an acre yesterday, and we've got these uh, raspberry or some kind of wild blackberry or something. And when I along the edge of the yard, and when I go by them, man, they grab you and they like ripping your arm off. So I sort of charged him like a bull yesterday and went and got him. But I got half my yard done, so that was a big thing. And I took my little Seiko 5 with me, and that Seiko 5, he just loves going out on yard mows because it doesn't get out much otherwise. And I put on my H Moser double hairspring. I wanted to take some pictures of the double hairspring. One of the things that I can do with my loop. Let me see if I can show you here. This you take this top part off. It's got a bigger part too. I like to use this one, and then you take this and let's see if I can do this without screwing something up. I did it. Ta-da. Let me see. And then, so you got your loop, and then you take your camera or your phone, which in my case, there's the part that I got to see through. And so let me see if I'm doing this right. Yeah. You take this and you just sort of like put it on there like that. And there it is right over the camera spot. And you can see all kinds of stuff. And I don't know. Let me try something. This is like, this is a new toy, let's face it. And let me see what happens if I do this. That doesn't work too well. But anyway, what I wanted to do was to try this with a video. And on the double hairspring really looks wild. I mean, that thing looks like it's a pulsating look as one oscillation turns it one way and the next oscillation. So they're always going, doing this back and forth. And that's the other thing too. The new watches that they did with MB&F and H Moser, they had this cylindrical hairspring, which I think is really cool. And I have no idea what it does yet, but I hope to someday. And also, I think they also use double hairsprings on those things. So they had, it really got some cool mechanical technology. Pure mechanical technology is what I like. You start putting silicon in there, and I get nervous. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Hey, Terry, let's see who else we got. Hi, Mr. Gumby, how are you? And Lee, how are you? Let's see. So what else? Hey, Danny. Is it Danny or Donnie? Hey, Williams watches. So all right. So let's look at the options we've got going with putting something together. Like I said, I don't really think we're going to have much luck this time around with Agonor, as much as I'd like to. And of all of the ones that are available that we can get, I think the UWD 33, unfortunately, 0.1 is called the 33.1-2. And I believe that is a three-hander with this small seconds at 6 o'clock, which is, I don't know, that's fine, I guess. I'd rather have the center seconds, but not $4,000 for a movement is probably one of the most expensive. The only one more expensive would be the Rolf Lang at $5,000. And then there's the Harbring 2 A11 that was for $1,300. You have to buy 10 of those. Let me see. I think 5 of the Rolf Lang. So I'm not sure which would be the best way to jump on these, and I'll tell you why. Excuse me, probably the most economical with the highest quality would be the Vauchur. That's my opinion. We can get some from this guy who had bought a bunch of them and would sell some to us. And the problem with that is I don't know. That adds another layer. I'm trying to keep everything really simple, but that's a possibility. So, in terms of that, that's where we are right now. So, any hey, Orange Hand, what are your views on that in terms of going forward? The biggest problem that I see, if we all sort of went out on our own, we could get what we wanted. Maybe 10 of us could go get an A11, or if we got 26 together, 25 together, we could get the Vaucheur. But I got a feeling that getting 25 people together might be a little tricky. Um, but it's possible. So that's where we could go. Uh, what I think would be ideal, and unfortunately, it's a very difficult kind of thing to do it, is that we could all get our own. But if we did that, we might lose out on any kind of benefits we could get if we all went to Booten, Lannon, and Kalen and said, okay, we want a case. I think if we all have the same case for the same movement, we'd end up a lot better. So it's one thing after another. Um, we could also look at other case makers and maybe take something that's off the shelf that we could fit in a lot of different movements into. I don't know. We've got options, and as yet, I don't think we're in a big hurry. As far as the pandemic's concerned, I got a feeling it's going to be with us until about maybe next March or April. That's the way I'm looking at it because of what's happened. There's been a lot of a lot of problems with it. Some of which I think is a lack of knowing what to do next. But we don't have them every day, so there's that. Okay. Yeah, Tim. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. It'd be hard to get together. The thing is that I can understand the point of view of the people who are selling these things. They can't, onesies and twosies to people like us. People like us being, a bunch of Rudy Poo watch collectors who are trying to put something together really nice for a really great deal. And of course, what they want is that they want some company to come along and say, we want 100 of these or some other kind of number that we can provide. So, okay, I think you should pause the movement and ask Wooten, Lannon, and Kalen how much the cases are and what the minimum orders are. Maybe that gives us clarity. That's a good idea, Hughes. I think I will. See what they want. When I contacted them, they say, okay, until we have basically a blueprint of the watch you want, we can't give you any kind of estimate. And that's where the real problem is. Maybe what I could do is I could say, look, we really like the cases you made for opium, and how much would those cases be, and what would the minimum order be? If we could do that, because I think they ordered like 130 or some number like that, which in the watch business, a lot of people think 130 is a limited edition, and it is. So that would be thinking, but I think that's a good idea. I'll contact them on Monday, and see what they say. Um, then I'll take a look and see what's it called. The name of the movement that Ophium uses called the techno time, something, 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 and I can find the dimensions of that techno time, and then maybe we can find the dimensions of a movement that are similar to that. I don't think I'd want to use that techno time movement, to tell you the truth. It's not bad, but I don't think it's something that I'd rather get a UWD, one of those, and maybe if it's close enough, we could do that. What do you guys think of that? Best approach is to buy secondhand Hermes, slim Hermes. They own 25%. You can get his watch for around $5K. Yeah, those are good buys, Tim. I agree. Yeah, it depends the kind of watch we want. If we wanted what I like is the whole idea of a retrograde minute with a jumping hour. If we had that, here's what we could do. Um, get a Gerald Genta. There were a surprisingly large number of watches. I don't think they're all by Genta, but I think a lot of them are, where they have exactly that. I didn't realize that. So, I mean, like, for 2 or 3 thousand bucks for the whole kit and caboodle, um, and the movement probably would be, some kind of ETA movement. I think that was before ETA sort of made a deal with Solita to make enough like theirs to fill in all of the orders. So who knows? Who knows what we can do? We can try that though. I like the idea though of the secondhand Hermes Slim Hermes, really a nice watch, very nice watch, and for around 5K. But then you're paying 5K for a case, and that's a lot. Yeah, John, you're right about Vaucher and making the cases. They would do that. In fact, we could probably put together a deal with Vaucher, saying, look, we want 25 of these and we want X cases with it. In fact, what they'd want to do is that they'd slap a logo on it for us if we wanted, which I don't think is a good idea. I think if we make a watch ourselves, and at some point in the future have to sell it, I think far more buyers would rather see a Vaucher logo than a goat or something like that. Hi, Paul. How you doing? Why not ask directly Vaucher who makes? Yeah, we could do that. I suppose and tell them to say, hey, we just want the case and the movement, and what kind of deal could we put together on that? A bear logo, fine. Bears are fine. We could put. Oh, I don't know why we'd want a bear logo, but my bears. Yeah, I got it. A black bear. Yeah. I was putting my fence back together. I have a fence around our yard, and I got to keep putting it back together because the bears come and they knock it down. And they got two different entrances, but the bears are lazy. Instead of going to their entrance at the end of the yard, they just come to the gate, knock down the fence next to the gate, and come marching in and gobble up all of my wife's suet. So I don't know. The bears, you bear, dumb bears. They got, the bears are sort of cool though. Man, I tell you, one of the things that I discovered is that, we've got out in the backyard, my wife has set things up so it looks like a sort of one of those things from the Disney's Sleeping Beauty. Is that all the little birds and the animal creatures are dancing around and stuff? That's what our backyard looks like. We got chipmunks and squirrels and all kinds of birdies. And, that's okay. That's what my wife likes. And, it's sort of cool. But man, I tell you, every now and then we'll go out there and we'll see just a bunch of feathers like that. And that we also have hawks. And so the hawks come down and grab the birds. So I see it as a double bird feeder for the birds and the hawks who eat the birds, or every now and then some unfortunate chipmunk. Yesterday when I was out doing the yard, some squirrel, all that was left of the squirrel with a bushy tail. Poor guy. One day I found some fox. I don't know, man. That fox got beat up and eaten up by something out in our backyard. Wasn't a bear. I don't think a bears would do that. Bears like suet, like the birds. Anyway, okay, let's back to watches. Yeah, I can keep the bears. Your bears are attracted to your berries. Um, yeah, but the berries, yeah, that they can have the berries. The berries are all on the outside of the fenced area, and You know, we got we got fruit trees all over the back too, and all the critters eat the fruit. And if we have a lot of it, I got extra stuff in the back. It falls on the ground, and I throw it over to the goats, and the goats love it. They think that's just the greatest thing in the world. And they come running up to the fence. This new batch of goats, so they don't know that yet. All right. Yeah. Now they I heard that a bear could smell something 40 miles away. Oh, whew. You gotta watch it. All right, so that's that. Let's see. So what's new in terms of for watch collecting going on? One of the things I think the collaborations is just the coolest thing in the world because you get the best of both worlds. I think that MB&F and H. Moser, that was very cool. And let's see, what else is popping up and watched them? You know what I would like to see more of? Excuse me. What I'd like to see more of is more of the kind of classic, for lack of a better term, classic kinds of movement features that make a watch, a mechanical watch, run more accurately. Uh, I, I don't know why. I suppose if I had one or even wanted one, I might like them better, and that would be a tourbillon. What I don't have, and you don't get to see much, even if you do, is a remontoir egalite, which to me is just like one of the coolest things you could possibly get. And in terms of affordability, I think the last one that I saw that I really would like to have was the one by Gronfeld, the Gronfeld Remontoir 1941. That's a beautiful watch. It was $55,000 or something like that, and they made 188, and they all sold out. Just kaboom! And so, not that it do me any good if they didn't sell out because they couldn't afford one anyway. So, but those kinds of things, I think. Let's see. Trying to think what some other ones. The other ones that keep getting. I think it's from the pollen and stuff. The other thing that I like, and the only watch I have with one, and I'm not even. I thought I understood exactly how it worked, and now it's not quite so sure. And that is the double barrel, where the barrels are in parallel. The sequential ones simply add the charge to it, the time of how long it can tick away. Where you have two barrels in parallel, what it does is that it somehow takes the pressure off. By using two barrels, they somehow share the pressure or the charge, and so there's a more even constant force. Now, I thought I understood how it worked, but after I read more about it, I'm not so sure. So that's something. Do any of you know watches that have double barrel with a parallel, uh, two barrels in parallel? Hi, Eddie. Hey, Lee, what's that? Okay. Oh, that was another thing too. That was in this report that I heard. Was the There are a lot of companies that were sort of slowly going into having online sales have accelerated that. I noticed that H. Moser, they had been sort of thinking about it, and they had a few. What they had some. I think they were NOS, but these were refurbished. They were selling them as refurbished pre-owned watches. I think they were, my opinion, and I have no grounds for this other than sheer cynicism, I guess, is that what they were doing is that they were selling new ones. but they could discount them if they called them used. And so I think with the online sales, there are a lot of other possibilities. Also, too, I found out something else was that apparently both Patek Philippe and Rolex were allowing some discounts. And I don't think these are the kind of discounts that are announced or advertised, but a lot of ADs were hurting, and they said, "Look, we're getting these offers, and they're not bad offers, but they can't. They're just not the same." And I think they said, "No, use your discretion on that." So that's been happening. And so I think that when the stores start opening up again, uh, there may be fewer of them, and there may be more options online directly from the dealer. Now, the interesting thing about that may have a not the best effect on some of the secondary markets, because what would happen if someone had, let's say, a Glashütte original, if they had some watches that didn't sell, they'd take them to a gray area or a gray market or a secondary market and have them heavily discounted so you could get a brand new one for a fraction of what the original price was. So now that uh, the the manufacturers themselves have their own online stores, they might be able to do what I'm guessing. Okay, if anybody from H Moser has seen this, they can say that's not right, and I'll believe them. But I think what they do is that they simply call them pre-owned, and pre-owned and serviced and put to and made like new. Well, they are new because they didn't sell them. So that may be an interesting possibility. And then, of course, that's going to hurt the secondary markets. Maybe on the secondary market, all we'll be able to get are truly used ones. I don't mind that at all. Because I think, I don't know, have any of you ever bought a used one that's just a dog? I mean, everything, nothing works on it. Um, I haven't so far. I've got one I sent into one of my old Kalpas needed service, but other than that, nothing. I mean, they've all been pretty good. This guy, um, one of my Jacques 736s, this thing, I got it pre-owned at really good buy on it, and it's been ticking fine ever since. Okay, the watches that Moser sells online as NOS refurbished, so they are models that never lost much value. They are the newer value. Yeah, that may be true. I saw some of them though. Some of the early ones they had weren't the newer models. um, the ones that they were selling, the ones that they were advertising, were pre-owned, and I don't know. I've had 2 calls from Rolex dealers offering me Sky Dwellers, which are usually a little tricky to pick up. Very good, Paul. Thank you. That's interesting to know. Um, one thing I found out that surprised me, Rolex doesn't have any retrogrades. None of the Rolexes have retrogrades. That surprised me. Um, I shouldn't have surprised me too much, but it did. Uh, so that's where that is. Let's. Oh, a lot of people are getting calls for hard to get watches. That's the worm has turned, so they say. I don't know. To me, it was always sort of I don't know. I hate getting muscled by anything or anybody, but you got to admit that it's sort of ironic when you have these rare watches or hard to get watches, as Hughes said, suddenly, oh, they're available, and just for you. I don't know. Okay. Hi, Decon. How's it going? They were hard to get, but everyone had one. Yeah, you know, I suppose the watches that I like the best aren't that hard to get. They're hard to afford. I could say that. Some of them have become hard to get. Some before the pandemic occurred, Eddie and I were at the Cellini's in New York, and they had all of these. They had, I think they had I think there were two or three Gronfeld Remontois 1941. Now they're all gone. There are probably some other ones that are gone too. I don't know. Okay, they are in the UK. All right. Um, well, listen, guys, my time's up. I finally decided to have it set correctly. What I want to do later today, I was going to take some pictures with my new gizmo here, and sort of looking through it and stuff. It's sort of a fun thing to have. It's basically an overpriced toy, like a lot of the other things that we have. So, well, we'll be back at 4 o'clock this afternoon, New York time. So if you want to join us again, we'll be back then. And until then, everybody stay safe and take care.